Stuck in traffic again? If your back feels tight, sore, or completely locked after driving, you're not alone, and ignoring it only makes things worse. Just 30 seconds of the wrong posture can undo hours of sitting, but the right movement can bring instant relief. This simple, commuter-friendly stretch decompresses your spine, releases lower back and shoulder tension, and gets you moving freely again. No gym, no equipment, just real relief when you need it most. Every morning, millions of people slide into their cars with the same quiet expectation: get from point A to point B. The engine starts, the seatbelt clicks, and the body settles into a position it will hold far longer than it was designed to. At first, everything feels fine. The radio hums, traffic moves, and the back seems cooperative. But somewhere between the red lights and the slow crawl of congestion, something changes. The shoulders creep upward, the lower back stiffens. By the time the destination arrives, stepping out of the car feels like waking up an old hinge that hasn't been oiled in years. This isn't a dramatic injury story. It's something far more common and far more overlooked. Driving-related back stiffness is one of the most widespread physical complaints among commuters, yet it rarely feels serious enough to address. People normalize it. They stretch once, shrug it off, or assume it's just part of adult life. But the reality is simpler and more physical. The human spine is built for movement, and driving quietly takes that movement away. When you sit in a car, especially for long periods, your hips stay flexed, your lower back loses its natural curve, and your upper spine subtly rounds forward. Even with a good seat, the body is held still. Muscles that should alternate between working and resting are forced to stay on the entire time, especially the deep muscles around the spine that keep you upright. Blood flow slows, joints receive less lubrication. Over time, stiffness isn't a surprise. It's a predictable outcome. What makes driving different from other forms of sitting is the tension layered on top of stillness. Hands grip the steering wheel, eyes stay forward, the mind stays alert. Stress, whether from traffic, time pressure, or noise, causes muscles to tighten without you realizing it. The shoulders elevate, the neck stiffens, the lower back braces. Even a short drive can leave the body feeling guarded, like it's still bracing for impact long after the car has stopped. This is why many people notice back discomfort not during the drive, but right after. Standing up suddenly demands movement from joints that haven't moved freely in a while. The spine, which thrives on gentle bending and extending, resists. That resistance shows up as stiffness, aching, or a dull pressure that makes simple movements feel heavier than they should. The good news is that this kind of stiffness isn't permanent damage. In most cases, it's simply a message from the body asking for motion. Not intense exercise, not complicated routines, just the kind of movement the spine already understands. One of the most effective ways to undo the effects of driving is gentle spinal motion, specifically controlled flexion and extension. This is where the classic cat-cow movement comes in. Often associated with yoga, it's not about flexibility or fitness level. It's about restoring the natural rhythm of the spine after it's been held still. When you gently arch the back and then slowly round it, you're doing several important things at once. You're encouraging the spinal joints to move through their full, safe range. You're improving circulation to the muscles that support posture. You're signaling to the nervous system that it's safe to relax. Even a few slow repetitions can change how the back feels almost immediately. For commuters, this movement is especially powerful because it directly counters the posture of driving. Where sitting compresses the spine, gentle motion helps decompress it. Where tension builds silently, movement gives it somewhere to go. This is why people often feel taller, lighter, or more mobile after just half a minute of mindful movement. What makes this approach realistic is its simplicity. You don't need a mat, special clothing, or a long break in your day. The movement can be done at home, at the office, or anywhere you have a little space. It's accessible to people of different ages, including seniors, because it doesn't rely on speed or force. The spine responds best to calm, controlled motion, and that's exactly what this provides. There's also a mental shift that happens with small routines like this. Instead of viewing back pain as something that just happens, you start to see it as something you can influence. A short drive no longer feels like a physical setback. It becomes a cue, a reminder to give your body a moment of care. That mindset alone reduces stress, which further helps the muscles relax. Posture improves as a side effect. When the spine moves well, it naturally returns to a more balanced position. The shoulders settle back, the chest opens slightly, the lower back regains its supportive curve. These changes aren't forced, they're the result of giving the body what it needs. Over time, small habits like this can make daily driving feel less draining and more neutral. It's important to keep expectations realistic. A single stretch won't erase years of poor posture or long commutes, but consistency matters more than intensity. 30 seconds after a drive, repeated daily, can make a noticeable difference over weeks and months. It's not about fixing the body, it's about maintaining it. In a world where people search for complex solutions, the most effective answer is often the simplest. Movement doesn't need to be dramatic to be meaningful. The spine doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for participation. When you give it a chance to move, even briefly, it responds with relief. The commuter fix isn't a workout, it's a reset. A small pause between sitting and moving on with your day. A reminder that your body was designed to bend, extend, and adapt, not to stay frozen in one position. And sometimes, all it takes to feel human again after a long drive is 30 seconds of mindful movement and the willingness to listen to what your back has been telling you all along. Subscribe to Wellness in Motion and turn everyday movement into lasting, pain-free living.